like everything else around here. So anyway, it's certainly the best way to start Big Ten play. Really happy for our coaches and players. Thought they did a great job. In hostile environment coming in here, we knew it would be. So the guys did a good job concentrating through that, kept their composure, and the bottom line is I think we really had a good team play out there. So that's always a good thing. And I think we saw improvement all three phases, at least was my vantage point. If you talk about the defense, I was told the color analyst said something about the Iowa defense being the sight to behold, and I would not argue that point tonight. A lot of really good efforts out there, certainly some great playmaking by our guys, and also told it's the fewest amount of points now since 1956, which was 66 years. That's pretty impressive. So clearly the guys are really playing at a high level right now, doing a good job. And the two defensive touchdowns, it did feel a little bit like the Indiana game, and I guess that's the last time we did that too. So a lot to be pleased about there. Offensively, I think we made progress. Saw some things that were better out there today. It's kind of a weird game in some ways. You lose a couple possessions. Nobody's going to complain about that, but I thought we did some things better. And most importantly, I think the line's grown a little bit. We're still not as cohesive as we need to be. There's still some things going on, and Rutgers did some things that make it rough on us as well. With some of their movement and blitzes, what have you. But that'll be good for our guys to weather that, weather a road trip, and make some progress. Thought the backs ran well and ran hard. Caleb ran out of bounds at one time, but otherwise some really good things. And then special teams continue to do a nice job. And I thought we played probably as well as we've played tonight in that regard. Good to see the kickoff coverage. Jay Higgins looked like he was doing pretty well out there in the whole group, a little better than last week. And I can't say enough about Torrey. Two good punters in the game, and Torrey, I think by my count, 1 on the 10, and then the other 3 were inside the 10. So that's a huge plus too. Anytime you can do that and just try to give them a long field, hopefully get it back in return. So just happy to get the win, and be happier to get out here and go home. Another late night. No offense. I mean, just not. I mean, I like New Jersey, but not after midnight at my age. Yeah.
How important was it to start to see those improvements in the rushing game?
It's every step right now for us is important, and that's one of our team goals. It's pretty simple during the week. You want to win the game that's in front of you, and hopefully improve. And I think it's always been important for our program, especially the month of September. And we talk to our players about that all the time. And September's a really critical month because we usually don't have a ready-made team. It's week by week, step by step, and we got a lot of really good veteran players right now, but we got a lot of guys that haven't played much and need every snap they can. So just really happy to see some growth.
Kirk, I realized that Cooper DeJean had a beyond stellar resume in high school as an athlete, but do you ever have any doubts when somebody comes from a small school that they can cut it?
No, I mean, the first time thinking about it's Dallas Clark, or you go down the list. And I remember I was coaching at Maine. Speaking of Maine, we had a 10-hour bus ride after the game. We played here, 91, I think it was. So I shared that. We had about an hour delay yesterday. I said, don't really have a 10-hour bus ride waiting for us. At least I don't think it's going to turn south on us tonight. But how did I get on that? Because there was an undersecretary of the Navy from Maine that came from a really tiny town. The astronaut, and I'm brain farting here. The woman astronaut, female astronaut. Help me out. Same town as our Hy-Vee founder, small town. Anyway, small towns that doesn't mean anything. Athletes are athletes and good players are good players, and we've had plenty of guys from small towns. I think the most surprising thing about Cooper, as far as I know, he really wasn't offered a scholarship by anybody. And you watch what he does, he just plays good football. He's flexible in terms of position, and tonight, fielded punts, did a nice job there too. So I'm not saying it's easy, but he makes it look easy, and that's what good players do. It's really good to see.
You have a movement. He's played corner tonight because Roberts did he get hurt yesterday?
Actually couldn't. It was pregame. We thought he had a chance to go. He's been banged up a little bit, but we thought he had a chance to go, and then he had a pull out in pregame today.
But you have Cooper moving back, and corner to Cash. That's two completely different. It's like almost a linebacker. I mean, how does he do it mentally? He's still young. He's still only a
that to me is probably the most impressive part. He looks, like it's pretty fluid for him athletically, but the mental part, to your point, There's a lot that goes into playing any position, and he does a couple and does it well at a really young age as a player. So, it's a real credit to him. And then, some guys are just a little bit more flexible that way than others, and I don't know what I would attribute it to. He's a really, multi-sport athlete. And I also want to mention, Sebastian jumping in there, because when Terry couldn't go, then Sebastian's next guy up, and certainly made a really nice play. And certainly Kayvon had a big night too. And maybe the smartest thing he did was drop it, and he was conflicted, but he let that, let that interception go there at the end.
Obviously difficult circumstances for Washawn. How have you seen him overcome that?
I don't know what I can say about him. He's just been really steady. Clearly it's been a really tough couple of weeks for him, and you feel badly for anybody to go through that, especially somebody that age. So, but it was great to get him back. He was back with us Monday, and his attitude never changes. So really good to see him play like he did tonight. And, it's what you expect from him, but nonetheless you can't overstate, what he's been through.
Elsewhere on the injury front, Justin was out there for a handful of plays and then came out of the game. What is his status?
I don't think it's good. I'll let you know Tuesday, but yeah, it didn't seem good. The initial report doesn't sound good, so we'll see where it goes.
And speaking of injuries, what's the latest with Keegan, and what's kind of the nature of this injury that keeps on nagging him?
It's soft tissue, and there's just no way to predict how it's going to go. So he was making progress and then had a setback, a week ago. And we'll just take it day to day, and I'll keep you posted. But there's actually, there's no way to predict these based on my experience, and we'll just kind of take it a step at a time.
When you look at Sebastian, it seems like he's made big hits. I mean, I think he did at Maryland a year ago this time, and then that play, I mean, it was a whoop hit, It seems like if he had most years, he'd be a guy that'd be a starter. And what kind of contribution is he making to his team?
I gotta be careful how I say it. Me personally, like the best things I've seen him do the last 2 years are during games. So, and some guys just like they hit a different gear in game competition. It seems like he's done that, and I'm hoping tonight will be a really shot in the arm for him confidence-wise, because he went in and played in that position, the cash and whatever you want to call it, and appeared to do a really good job. And then a lot of plays tonight, so hopefully I think this will give him a little confidence. And he was so impressive in high school. Just he's one of those guys, like we were talking about Cooper, just a good all-around athlete, good attitude. And but sometimes you need a little help, and I think maybe tonight, getting the kind of snaps he got, and we were counting on him to play well, and from where I stood, it looked like he really played a good game. Hopefully this will help give him more confidence and encourage him to even keep playing even better.
And then with Cooper again, just 3 straight weeks he's had an interception now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, his star is just rising so fast. I mean, not only on the field, but I think he'd probably win the greatest Hawkeye award for your fans right now. I mean, how's he going?
Even Tory might compete with him a little bit, yeah. So yeah.
But how does he handle this? It seems like nothing affects him. I mean,
And he's the same guy every day, and he's the same way last year. Not that he's having this kind of success, but he's one of those guys. He's just really grounded. He's just really steady, very humble, and a lot of really good players I've been around. That seems to be one of the trademarks. They're really humble guys, and I think he's probably thinking about what he can do to get better. But it's been impressive. Watching him play is impressive. He's a football player.
Who or how was it that when you guys said we got to have this guy?
Tyler Barnes is really the driving force for Cooper. Talking about, I mean, he was the driving force. He saw him playing basketball, and I can't remember why Tyler was on the road. He was tagging out, somebody was sick or something. But saw him at a basketball game and just really liked him. And that thing I remember, my Kodak moment was this state championship game where he did everything, right? He ran, I think he scored the tying touchdown, recovered the onside kick, or they were down, whatever. He got the onside kick, and then they scored again. And I think he had a 2-point play and then sold popcorn on top of it. I mean, just everything this guy does. So you hear stuff like that. I go back to Ed Hinkle. Like Ed Hinkle's team always won from like 8th grade on. So there are little things like that really impress you too. I think you can't deny production.
First game that the running back room was full tilt. It was a position where you feel like you felt good about Gavin and LeSean coming into the year, and then Caleb has kind of ascended as well. What's your feeling on the room as a whole right now?
Yeah, first it was good to have the two veterans together. It's the first time we've had that this season of three previous weeks. So that was good. And then Caleb's a guy we've watched him grow week to week to week. Really impressed with him in camp. And talking about like Cooper being humble, Caleb is just an unbelievably positive, humble young guy. Great attitude. And, but I don't mind telling you, at least I had that worry about first time in live action in college football. Is he going to hang on to the ball? And he's done a really good job, and I don't want to jinx him. I'm not talking about it anymore, but he just seems to be growing. He ran out of bounds in the fourth quarter there. That's a young guy mistake, but we can correct that real quickly. So to have him with the other two guys, I think is really, that's something we can be really very positive about. And going back to the fumble topic, just to come out without a turnover tonight was really big for us too. And that's, we're not a bad football team if we protect the football.
And then on the offensive line, seemed like, especially in the second half, they're opening up a lot of holes just from field level view. What did you feel like was the biggest step that they took forward today? They were able to have the success that they did.
I've kind of been saying the last couple of weeks, it's just they need to play and they need to experience some things. And Rutgers made it tough on us. They were bringing that safety down a bunch. And he was showing up in various places, so it was a challenge for us. This will be a really good learning tape for us to look at tomorrow. And, but I think they're competing, they're playing a little bit more mature, if you will, or stronger, a little stouter. So it's all about just, taking these snaps and trying to make them be a benefit as we move forward.
Gavin,
Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Gavin came in as the #1 running back, but it seems like LeSean and Caleb have been the ones to really shine. Is that a matter of just the style that LeSean and Caleb run, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. Just, it's kind of like our whole lineup offensively right now. We're still probing a little bit and trying to learn more about guys. None of these guys are veteran players, right? We talk about Gavin and LeSean like they're seniors, and they're not. They're young players. So we're trying to learn, especially on our offensive side, we're trying to learn about the team with each and every rep. And, I think those guys are gaining ground. The backs are. I think the guys up front are. We just have some receivers on the field now, which is encouraging. Nico fell down on that one route by our bench, which was, disappointing, but that's because he hasn't played, and he's probably trying too much on that. But, we're fighting the time clock a little bit on the offensive side, and that's, every snap counts.
On the linebacker front, Jay Higgins played on defense last week. Saw him again tonight. Kyler Fisher as well. How would you describe their ascension, where they've been good special teams players, but now they're starting to have a little bit of role on defense also?
Yeah, so it's a flip of the offensive side, where we have some veteran guys like Jack, like Seth, and Justin. So, but those guys really did a good job in the spring. They gained a lot of confidence from our coaching staff, just what they did in the spring. And I think, Jay's doing a lot of good things. I mentioned him on special teams. Certainly played well in defense also, looked like. And, Kyler's a guy who's, been coming on with each and every opportunity. So you need depth because, you're always going to have injuries to contend with, and that's certainly the case for us right now. So to have guys like Sebastian, Jay jump in there, that's big for us.
I wanted to ask you about Kayvon. He came up with multiple big plays tonight, not only fumble recovery for a touchdown, but being in the right spot to intercept that ball. And you talk about a two-star guy who played basketball to now being a team captain, and his trajectory seems like it's it's historic in some ways.
Yeah, we don't get to go shopping at the five-star store. We're not going down there too much. So we have to try to find guys that maybe are going to, we think are going to grow into it. And Cooper's an example. Kayvon, a lot of these guys we're talking about weren't overly heavily recruited, but we thought they had. We're always looking for guys that we think can develop and become better players. And really all it counts is what you are once you get to the field, and no matter how fast or how slow that might be. Kayvon's he's a tremendous young guy. Talk about another guy, a really good guy and a humble guy and a good team leader. And I think he was showing off for Dane Belton. Dane was on our sideline tonight, and I always tease these guys. They look like they're 5 years older as soon as they walk out of our building. I swear, Dane looks great, and it was great to have him with us on the sideline today.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody.